Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? The Saints and the Packers played a year ago. A close ball game. The Packers ended up scoring late, and they won the game 37-30. This game on Sunday in Jacksonville, I'm going to be very interested to see if it might follow a similar type course between these two teams. If you missed it, there is some very significant news for New Orleans today. Both Ken Crawley and Tre'Quan Smith have gone on IR. I looked at that initially and thought, man, that's a really, really, really tough blow. And I don't think there's any doubt, especially as far as depth goes, that that's true. That is a tough spot for New Orleans. With the injury report in total, Crowley, Tre'Quan on IR. Marshawn Lattimore, who was limited Thursday, was a full participant Friday, so he's a go. And then Teron Armstead and James Hurst both did not practice. That could just be a veteran day off, maybe just not wanting to put either of them at risk. There's no reason given. Well, actually, Armstead is a back and Hurst is a knee. Only Hurst is listed as questionable. Armstead looks like he's going to be a go. You have to list something if you hold him out. Maybe it was just holding him out. The Packers, it's a little more sincere, obviously. Vernon Scott, we know, their safety is going to be out. Zadarius Smith, their great pass rusher, did not practice. He is questionable for the game. Generally, if you don't practice on Friday, you're not going to go. But a player like that, I got to think that he's going to try to give it a go. Mercedes Lewis, the tight end, they gave him a veteran rest day on Thursday, and he was a full participant today. So not much there. But the things that are serious, that both Ken Crawley and Tre'Quan Smith are on IR, which means they will not play. They're out. I am actually okay with that. It concerned me a lot this offseason that we were being pumped with the idea that Ken Crawley was an answer at one of the outside corner spots. I mean, remember, all throughout the offseason, certainly throughout training camp, we knew Marshawn Lattimore was there, but the big question was, what if Lattimore's suspended? Who's going to play outside corner? And we've talked about the notion of it being potentially Crawley and Paulson Adebo. And, I mean, they signed guys like Brian Poole, and they were just running through veterans this offseason to see who might be able to come in. Well, you're at this point now where you've actually supplemented that position. I know Bradley Roby isn't going to be able to go in this game, but Marshawn Lattimore is. And that was the big question. When we talked about this game all throughout this offseason, the biggest thing defensively was, I'll talk about offense in a second, but the biggest thing defensively was, man, we all have for months had made the assumption, well, you're not going to have Marshawn Lattimore, you're not going to have David Onyemata, you're not going to have Michael Thomas, you're not going to have Deontay Harris. Well, Onyemata, of course, is suspended. Michael Thomas is hurt, but you're going to have Deontay Harris. You're going to have Marshawn Lattimore. You're healthier and more available than we thought. The idea of Ken Crawley, Paulson Adebo terrified me. The idea of Marshawn Lattimore, Desmond Trufant, I'm good with that. I was worried when people were trying to sell me Ken Crawley as an answer, when I've seen Sunday Ken Crawley in this league, and I don't want to see that on the outside. As a rotational guy who might be able to give you snaps defensively, you jumping in a pinch, okay. As the guy you're counting on to be opposite Marshawn Lattimore, who is going to lock down Devontae Adams, I don't want to see that. So I feel much better about the defense because Lattimore's out there. And I like the idea. Trufant is an upgrade over Crawley. Adebo could end up being an upgrade over Crawley. And then you still got CJ Gardner-Johnson, who's a freaking stud, and allows all those guys to stay in their role. PJ Williams is saying dime packages. You're more whole there. And if I could stay on defense for just one more second, for me, one of the biggest things in this game is Green Bay's ability to protect Aaron Rodgers, which we have not talked a lot about, but remember, David Bakhtiari, their Pro Bowl left tackle, tore his ACL. He's out. So Aaron Rodgers will have a new left tackle protecting his blind side. And then Corey Linsley, their center, left this offseason in free agency. And Mike Detillier told us this for years, and it was an old Buddy D betting angle, but it was that teams that lose their center on a game week, they don't cover. They lose the game outright something like 80% of the time. It's something obnoxious, but it holds true so often. So anytime I see somebody lost a center, I'm always going to pay more attention to it. Yes, it was in free agency, so they had the whole offseason to work that, but it's just different. When you're in a game and you're making calls when bullets are flying for real with a center you haven't worked with, that is real. Now, 2 years ago, Aaron Rodgers got crushed. 2 years ago, Aaron Rodgers was sacked 41 times. Last year, in 18 games, so that's the 16 regular season games and the 2 playoff games, he was sacked 25 times. So the offensive line did a much better job of protecting Aaron Rodgers a year ago. The Saints last year, 45 sacks. They're one of the best in the NFL at getting to the quarterback. You've got no Trey Hendrickson, obviously, but you've got Cam Jordan, and no David Onyemata too. I get it. But you got Cam Jordan, you got Marcus Davenport, you got Carl Granderson, you add Peyton Turner, and you've still got Demario Davis, Quan Alexander in the middle. I like the Saints defense. I feel so much better about it today. Quan Alexander is back and healthy. That allows you to have the young guys as depth at linebacker spot. Marshawn Lattimore is available Sunday. That allows you to have Tre'Quan Adebo at the other boundary corner. I'm concerned. I have a question about the run defense, and the Saints have been one of the best, if not the best, run defense in the NFL the past 4 years, but no Malcolm Brown, no Sheldon Rankins. I get it. You need a supplement on the interior. How do those guys look? Do you really count them on Travius Adams? I mean, I'd feel so much better if David Onyemata was there. I mean, it just wouldn't even be a question for me. But I kind of like the Saints defense in this matchup. I don't think we're gonna be sitting here on Monday talking about the Saints giving up 40 points to Aaron Rodgers. I like the Saints defense in this matchup. Offensively, I know the gigantic question. There's no Michael Thomas. There's no Emmanuel Sanders. There's no Jared Cook. Your top pass catchers from a year ago are all gone. And I don't care. I don't care. Maybe that is super naive and brash of me, but I have watched Sean Payton for 15 years in New Orleans find randoms and make them work in this offense. And yes, the variable that I'm not considering is Drew Brees. It's the first game without Drew. But I would also say this is an opportunity with Jameis Winston to add a dimension to the passing game that you haven't had. You will have the ability to stretch the field with Jameis Winston that you did not have the past few years with Drew Brees. You can use Marquez Callaway and Deontay Harris to stretch the field. I totally understand they are going to ask guys on Sunday in the pass game to do things they've never done on Sundays. You're going to ask Marquez Callaway to be a number one receiver in a Sunday NFL game. You're going to ask Juwan Johnson to be a flex tight end and to be a dude. You're going to ask Adam Troutman to say, hey, bro, this is you. 85% of the snaps, you're on the field. I understand it. I have all the questions. But I also know that I've watched Sean Payton call plays for 15 years, and he is going to find a way to scheme guys open. Can they execute? Can Jameis play within himself? I love the Saints offensive line. You give me Alvin Kamara running, catching. I love it. You probably see where I'm leaning. And I think anyone who has listened to this show for any length of time knows definitively that I am not a homer. No one will ever accuse me of that. I will tell you how I feel. If I think a team's going to win, or if I think a team's going to lose, I'm going to tell you straight up. And the more I look at this matchup, especially with Mike Triplett, what he said yesterday about the history of Sean Payton taking his teams away from New Orleans I mean, 2005 was not a Sean Payton team, but that was a disaster post-Katrina. That just wasn't a very good team. But Sean Payton's teams, when they've had to do this, they've had success. Even when they played back-to-back West Coast games, they've just stayed out west or whatever. Maybe when you have great leadership and a great organization, you have these opportunities to organize your organization and make it work. And when you have good leadership, both in the front office and the coaching staff and team leadership, these things aren't as big of a deal. And yes, I would love it if this game was in the Dome. I would love it if this game was in the Dome. Of course I would. A dome field advantage. But it's also not going to be a disadvantage for New Orleans. You're not playing the game in Green Bay like in 2005. They had to play a home game at the Meadowlands against the Giants. I think the Saints win the game. I'm going to pick the Saints 27-24. I think New Orleans surprises much of the NFL and wins week 1 against Green Bay. I love the fact that Marshawn Lattimore is going to play. I love that Deontay Harris is going to play. That adds a dimension on both sides of the ball that we weren't expecting to be there. And I think the Saints are going to win 27-24. Give me New Orleans to win and upset Green Bay week 1 there in Jacksonville. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.